My name is Jodie Yuncker. I am an IFBB Bikini Pro and Olympian. I am one of the assistant coaches for Team Alpha Aesthetics, led by Ashlyn Little and Janine Herrera. She pushes me every single day. I push her. Like, we're on each other's butt every single day. Like, come on, you can do better. Like, go after this. Let's go. Like, do you want to be at the top? Work harder. So it's really great to have somebody that supportive and close to you that's always wanting more and more for you. I will say for me, I am very self-driven. If somebody tells me to do something per se, let's say my coach, Cash, he tells me, hey, this is the workouts I want you to do. This is the intensity I want you to give off. Like, I'm going to go out and give 100% because somebody is saying, hey, this is what it takes to get to this level. So I know if I do 100%, they'll know how to then adjust the plan for me. So in regards to surrounding myself with other people with that same mentality and pushing myself to that next level, I remind myself that, there's millions of other people out there working just as hard as me. If I want to get to that next level, I have to do more than what they're doing. And that could be, adjusting my schedule to being like, hey, maybe we're working out with Janine today. So changing my schedule because she can only work out at 11. I can work out anytime during the day, even though I like to go like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But adapting to that and being like, okay, I'm still getting my workout in. I'm still eating all of my meals, but staying on a set schedule because that allows for proper digestion, good sleep routine, good recovery, and your body adapts to that. So that way it knows when you're getting closer to a prep and show day, yep, 9 a.m. is my first meal, noon is my second meal, and so forth. This is the time that you train. This is how long it takes for your body to recover. So having all those variables aligned and also relaying that onto my clients, being like, hey, this is part of your lifestyle now. So let's make it sustainable where you guys can all put it together and be like, all right, work out, sleep, eat, work, repeat. That will help you stay aligned and know that you can progress that next level versus just sprinkling it in here and there and then getting lost in the journey.
Yeah. So it sounds like a lot of almost a balance between like figuring out what works, but also being consistent enough to know if that thing is actually going to work.
Yes. And one thing that I relate to that is when clients come to me and they said that their digestion is sluggish or they're feeling bloated. Well, if you're mixing your food up every single day and we can't pinpoint out exactly what is causing that digestive distress, then we need to find some type of consistency. Yes, it's great you're hitting your macros, but what is causing the bloating? So then I tell them, let's just stick with the same meals for a full week, listen to your biofeedback, and then we can start playing the process of elimination.
I think we have a tendency of wanting to find the healthiest version of unhealthy stuff, right? So like almost the best way to do it the wrong way.
Yes, and simplify it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of what you were saying is people want it this way. So maybe they're wanting some type of crazy fancy meal and they have 1,000,002 ingredients into it. Dude, just go back to the bro science. Like, stick with a carb, a protein, a fruit, or a vegetable at each meal. Make it simple. You don't need to overcomplicate anything. I myself, even in improvement season for this past year, a little bit over a year, I will be truthful. I barely eat out just because that's me. Like when I eat out, it's like an enjoyment. So it's not something I have to do every week. Same thing with my meals. Very simple: rice, potatoes, meat, veggies, some fruit. Like I don't overcomplicate it because I know how I treat improvement season is how prep is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Two different perspectives. Yes, it's not a free for all, go do whatever you want. Once we're 20 weeks out, we're hitting it hard. No, what I tell people is like you earn that extra freedom during an improvement season. So once you can adhere to your reverse phase and we get everything into a healthy place, that's when we can start implementing, an untracked meal in an intuitive day of eating, maybe an extra 500 flex calories a week. So that way you still have that enjoyment and balance, but you're still practicing the 80-20 rule where most of the time you are on track, so we can monitor those variables.
And for you, you know, following it, whether it's like an 80/20 or a I'd give myself, you know, a little bit of like a maybe a little bit of the leniency in that season. Um for you, is that more of a scheduled leniency in regards to like that I know that I'm going to, you know, just for an example, I don't know if this is you particularly, but I know I'm gonna have ice cream on Thursday night. Or is it more like, okay, tonight I feel like having ice cream, so that means I can't do it again for another 8 days or whatever that may be. You know, is it more on the spot or is it more scheduled?
Are you a personal trainer, online fitness coach, or gym owner on the verge of burnout? Are you wanting to grow your fitness business but can't add more hours to your hectic schedule? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today.
I will say a lot of mine is on the spot if I am going out. Typically, I will know that morning if we're going to go out and do something with friends or family. But for me, I think a lot of it stems from my past history of having an eating disorder for 12 years. So I was very consumed and controlled by food and exercise. Where now I do have that freedom where I allow myself, you know, being able to go out to eat. It's okay to take a day off of working out if I'm sore. Whereas before it'd be like, huh, nope, I'm doing extra cardio, extra working out because I know I'm going out for dinner tonight. So even if I know I'm going out, I will say myself, I still plan accordingly and say, okay, this is roughly what I'm going to be getting at this restaurant. These are the roughly macros. But that's because I still have that control mechanism of my eating disorder that I will be truthful. I don't know if I'll ever break free of it. Like, I can look at a food group and know exactly, hey, these are the carbs, fats, and proteins at this meal. But it's because I dealt with it for 12 years.
Yeah.
I can say I'm fully recovered of that. I would never ever go back to where I was. But in relationship with food, I can still pick apart how my day is going to go and how I'm going to structure my other meals based around what I'm eating out.
And do you think part of that is a character trait that when you manage it, it can be to your benefit? And, you know, especially looking at a sport like bodybuilding, to where you obviously don't want to go to the extreme of like what, you know, an eating disorder, but if you can look at food in a certain way and know and like analyze it and break it down and kind of figure out how it, you know, where the macros are and what, you know, how it's gonna potentially benefit you and things like that's using that character trait in a positive way. Do you feel like that there's certain character traits that just lead certain people to do certain things, but sometimes they can go off into the wrong end of it?
Yes. And I would say that is what I'm portraying is like I can look at a plate being like, okay, I know I roughly need, let's say, a fistful of protein, a fistful of carb, and some type of micronutrient on my plate. Knowing that that is a meal that's going to satisfy me and fulfill my nutrient gaps up without making me feel yuck after eating it. Because since you do eat so clean for a certain period of time, your body's used to that. So when you do maybe fill it with something a little bit more greasy or something sweet, it sits in your stomach hard. So looking at the plate when you're ordering at a restaurant and being like, okay, yes, it's balanced. And then maybe having a bite or two of dessert perfectly satisfies me and makes it not feel like you're undoing any progression. I will say, even me and my one friend, we used to gorge on sushi, and it was like a treat. So we would go get like 15 rolls, but we would eat basically just like protein and some vegetables during the day, and then stuff our face with sushi. And afterwards, yeah, you felt heavy and weighed down. Now I go out for sushi and I'm like, okay, I'm still eating throughout the day. I can go out, get 3 rolls, and be perfectly content and not feel like I need to stuff my face.
Yeah.
So it's even crazy how different my mindset has changed just by within like this past year of my feelings around food too.
So, kind of going back in time a little bit, you mentioned, having an eating disorder and I've talked to bodybuilders. I want to say a lot of bodybuilders who have had eating disorders specifically, or at least that they've mentioned, but I've talked to some bodybuilders who, that's what they dealt with and it was tricky from a personal and from like a family and friends kind of angle, being in the sport. For you, I mean, what was that experience like? I mean, is that something that you kind of conquered before getting in, or that you were dealing with when you were getting in, or what was that for you?
So honestly, bodybuilding is what saved my life. So I struggled with it for 12 years. My parents tried to help me overcome it. There would be a couple weeks where I'd be good and start to overcome it and start to gain a little bit of weight, eat a little bit more food, cut back on exercising. And then I would be like, all right, guys, I got this. Don't ask me what I'm eating, what I'm exercising, any of that. And then I would slowly go back down to my old habits. Finally, they straight out told me, they said, Jodes, you know, you're going to die. You're letting this eating disorder take control of your life. We are watching you fade away, and we can't do this anymore. They said, you are in your college year or I was a senior in college. They said, you either need to figure this out this last semester, or once you're done, you're going to go to an inpatient facility and we're going to have them take care of you because we can't do it anymore. It's causing too much stress on the family. So right then and there, like, it was a sit down conversation with them looking in my eyes. I'm like, all right, they're not playing any more games with us. Like, they mean business. I need to figure something out and change what I'm doing, or else I'm going to go to an inpatient facility. And being that deep in my eating disorder, yes, I researched inpatient facilities. I knew I would be on bed rest. I knew I'd be eating through a feeding tube, doing stuff that I would literally hate, just sitting there all day long, not moving my body, eating foods I didn't like, and then gain weight at a quick rate and feel very uncomfortable. So I told them, I said, all right, you guys are giving me one last opportunity to change my lifestyle. I said, trust me on this. I'm going to prove to you guys that I can. So I stopped running 20 plus miles per day, like cold turkey, stopped running. I started to analyze what I was eating and how much food I was eating each day, which was very little, maybe 800 calories at the max. Like, probably most of the time it was maybe 600. I would even fear putting a piece of gum in my mouth because I knew it had 5 calories per stick. It got down to that little minute of tracking. So I started to slowly track my food, see where I was at, started doing some research online, seeing, okay, if this is my weight, this is what my goal is. How can I slowly add food in with not gaining body fat super crazy fast and increasing my metabolism? So I started just to increase my food. I started to weight train 3 times per week. Yes, I was that girl in the gym, barely able to curl 2.5 pound dumbbells, couldn't even squat the bar. Like, I was a stick. And when I say a stick, like a super stick. Um, but it was just like, from there, I knew I had something within me that was making me stronger. And it just started to pile up one by one. And I said, after I recovered, which was about a year later, it didn't, I will say it didn't take very long to recover once I was like, wow, I need to change. This is not healthy. So about a year to a year and a half later, I recovered fully. And I said, I just want to do one bodybuilding show. And it wasn't to try to go back to old habits of adding cardio in and restricting what I was eating. It was more to prove to myself that, okay, you overcame your darkest days. Now you're going to reach a new peak in your journey. And I was always athletic my whole entire life. So to enter the world of bodybuilding and see all of these people supporting one another and rooting each other on and seeing the strength that they built internally and are now showing externally was inspiring to me. So I did one bodybuilding show in 2019. That was my first show. I took 2 firsts and a second. From there, I went and competed in Vegas, and I took second place there. And my coach at the time, Jamie G. Bernard, was like, let's go to the national show. I said, all right, let's see how we stack up. Like, my goal going into the show, I was like, I'm a little girl from Shepherd, Michigan, just recovered, anorexia. Let's see what's going to happen. I was like, I just want to get top 10 or better. Sure enough, we got top 10. So that was like a pinnacle of my point of my first career. And then just building up from there. So even though I knew there might be potential questions of my parents asking me, Jodes, are you going back to your old habits? Like, you're losing weight, you're restricting what you're eating. They never once asked me that because they knew how strong I was when I recovered and where I wanted to go with it.
Do you feel like that's a part of you that you have inside of you that you like build, like that you almost like push down and like suppress it, and those maybe even sound like too weird or like too negative, but like, is that a part of you that you're pushed down more, or do you feel like that it's like that it is you that you just build on top of and like continue to like get better as you?
I will say it is me. It is part of my identity. It is who I am. If my eating disorder did not take place, I don't think I would be where I am today. And I know that is not the same for anybody, but it has shaped me to be a very insecure woman that isolated herself, never wanted to go out and do anything, was very quiet, was always thinking that she had to be perfect anytime she did go out, like makeup done, hair done, the perfect outfit on. Everybody was looking at her, judging her, and she never thought she was good enough. To now, it's built me to a woman where I'm like, you know what? This is me. Yes, I recovered from an eating disorder for 12 years. Yes, I started bodybuilding. Yes, I showcase my life on Instagram, on Facebook. But for me, that's something that I feel inspires others, that nobody is perfect in this world. Be who you are for who you want to be versus what you think somebody else wants you to be. So for me, my eating disorder did shape who I am. And I will say, if I didn't struggle with it, I don't think I would be where I am today. I would probably still be back living in Michigan. Not sure what I'd be doing for a career, but I probably wouldn't have adventured off and met some of my closest friends.
Yeah, I think that, there's so much value in, hard times and going through struggles and challenges. It's unfortunate, that some people don't make it through that, right? I mean,
It's very unfortunate.
yeah,
And when I see somebody that, if I'm just walking down the street and I see somebody that looks like they could, like, my heart honestly sinks for them because I know what they're going through and all of the negative comments that people are saying around them, that they don't understand the internal battle that they're trying to fight.
hmm
And it's just within themselves. And I will say, somebody that recovered from it, it has to start from internally, of you wanting to recover and being able to talk to other people that have recovered themselves also helps you build who you are and where you need to go.
And so kind of today, is it still something that you think about in regards to like not letting yourself build up negative habits?
So I asked myself, like, is that one day or couple bad days going to set me apart from what I'm doing 360 days out of the year? So recognizing that, hey, not every day is going to be perfect. There's going to be hard days where you might feel like you're at your low and you're never going to get out of it. But if you're able to recognize that as well as talk with others around you and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. How can I get out of this little slump? Most of the time, they're going to help lift you up. And being able to recognize those times that when you're feeling that way and talking about it, will help you keep prospering. It's even my clients. Like, I've dealt with some people that have had eating disorders, as well as people that just think that they're never good enough or they have to be perfect. And we start journaling prompts. We start talking about it in their check-ins and say, like, hey, it's okay. Nobody's perfect, even when you see people on social media. Yes, it might look like they lead a perfect life, but I can guarantee you it's not all rainbows and butterflies on the outside. There's probably something there that they might feel insecure about that they just haven't spoken about yet. Even like when I'm getting feedback from, my coach or from the judges after a show, I don't let that like weigh on me. If it's negative feedback of like, hey, this is what we need to improve on, I'm like, all right, what's the game plan? Like, let's get after it right now. So sometimes people take that as criticism and then they start to just shut off. Where to me, we should take that and we should use that as fire to fuel us to get back at it and be like, all right, they want this out of me. This is what I'm going to prove to them.
Kind of speaking on that a little bit, to a certain degree, there's a lot of people who, experience like anxiety about stuff, right? And you mentioned how like having a plan and being like, okay, this is what the situation may be, but what's, how do we fix it, or what's the plan, that kind of thing. And I think a lot of anxiety comes from just inaction and thinking about the current situation, overly thinking about it and overly analyzing it, instead of, like you said, have like accepting what is now, but then also how do we fix it, and then going out and doing those actions. I mean, I think that any time in my life when I've been anxious about something, it's typically because I'm thinking about something too much and not doing anything about it.
Instead of just doing it. Yes.
Yeah.
And that can get the best of us. It's like, stop overthinking it. Just go out there, let it flow. What happens, happens. And I can guarantee you, if you just stop thinking about it, it's going to go better than what you're thinking about right now.
We typically do, paint a lot of times, paint the worst case scenarios in our head, and sometimes like even to a crazy degree.
And is the judges going to notice the one little thing that maybe went wrong in your posing routine? Chances are no, as long as you keep your face engaged. So, like, if you turn the wrong way, don't be like, oh crap, there we go. Just keep going with it, because I'm sure those judges are going to be like, wait, I think she was supposed to turn the other way.
Yeah.
React as it came naturally.
Are you a personal trainer who wants to scale and grow your business online? Have you been coaching online for years, yet don't know how to incorporate online into your current business model? Introducing Trainer Revenue Multiplier, the premier wealth creation system for fitness professionals that helps you earn more and work less. Visit www.trainerrevenuemultiplier.com today to schedule your free business accelerator session. If you're serious about taking your business to the next level, schedule your call today.
It really does start with your mental state. Like, that has to be clear first, and you have to know what you want out of it, because that physical state usually comes fairly easy. Most of the time, you just got to take that action and say, all right, we're either going to sink or we're going to swim, and go from there. And if it didn't work out, all right, analyze it, retry something else, and go from there. Everything in life, you're going to have wins, you're going to have losses, you're going to have super low points that might take you a little bit to get out of. But if you're like, I can keep going, I can keep doing this, altering that, doing this, you're going to eventually just keep rising and rising and rising. And then you'll reach that peak where you're going to say, wow, I never thought I was going to get to this level. But that's because you have the right people behind you supporting you. You had the right mindset, and you knew that you would get there as long as you kept putting the work in.
When so you mentioned going to that national show and having that goal of like, okay, I just want to be in the top 10 and feel like I'm supposed to be here. I think that that's a big thing. I want to feel like I'm building some confidence in myself and my abilities here. But moving after that, talk to us a little bit, what was the next step?
So we went into a building phase. I will say it was a fairly short building phase, maybe four-ish months. Um, I thought I needed more size personally, just because we are our own worst critics. So I always think that I can be bigger and better. But coach said, hey, let's go back into, competing. Let's get this. Let's see what this year brings us. All right, let's do what you say. You're the coach, like you're leading the ship. So I literally went and competed at Junior USA's. I wasn't planning on competing at that show, but coach thought we were ready when it was 6 weeks earlier than what we planned on doing for Junior Nats. So I said, all right, let's just go do it. Let's see what happens. Well, we ended up getting second there. So it wasn't too bad. I was like, all right, I will take this for being quite a few extra weeks out. This was great. We went to North Americans next. I took second there as well. So it's like, all right, we're right there. Like something's gonna break. We're gonna get it this year. Kept going and going. I did another national show. I did actually go down a little bit, and I got fifth at that show. That didn't affect my mindset. I was like, all right, body just needs a little bit of rest. We'll come back. We'll keep improving whatever the judges want. We ended up doing a national qualifying show, got the overall. So I was like, all right, it wasn't meant for this year to get the pro card. We wanted to get the overall so that way we can reach each peak. So, taking first in a class, then getting the overall, let's go get the pro card eventually, and then keep climbing up the ladder. I did one more national show that year. I got outside of the top 5. I believe it was 7th place I got at that show. So didn't exactly end the year on the highest note, but it was still a very successful year after doing about 6 shows. Went back into another short improvement season. Each year, honestly, I probably only took an improvement season for about four months at max. Other than that, I was in prep. I'm one of those people that you tell me the plan, I'm staying driven on it, like blinders on it, I'm focused. So we ended up doing 4, let's see, 1, 2, did Junior USA's, got second again, went and did Junior Nationals, got my pro card at that show. From there, coach was like, let's go see how we stack up at the pro level. I was like, all right, let's do one show at the pro level, see how we stack up. And then let's just call it a season to start improving for the pro stage. Well, pro debut, I got top 5. So that was a bittersweet moment. It was actually the same show that I won my overall at. So she was like, well, they see something in you. Let's just go do another pro show. All right, let's go do another one. Got another 5th place. And then we ended up doing one more show in Mexico. I got 3rd place there. I said, we're ending the season there. It's a high note. Let's go back to building so that way I can make it to the Olympia stage and hopefully win a show in 2021. Wait, 2021. So took another short improvement season. Coach was like, all right, time to prep again. I was like, really? I don't think I've added enough size. That's me second guessing myself, always seeing myself every single day. I know I'm putting the work in. I know I'm hitting my macros, executing my workouts, but I'm like, come on, I need a little bit more size. Like let's not prep just yet. Just give me like another 2 months. Nope, that was not the case. We went into prep and I competed in 17 shows that year. That was the last year of the point system for the Olympia. I was the leader on the point board for bikini. So we got in on points, but I will say it was a freaking battle that entire season. 5 shows, 1 point away from earning the Olympia qualification, and then being able to take a nice little break before we went to the Olympia stage. I basically competed every single weekend right up until the Olympia to get that qualification to go to the Olympia. Got on the Olympia stage, literally something I will never, ever, ever forget my first time being at the O. It's an experience that I can't even put into words because I never thought that I would be at the pinnacle of bodybuilding, basically the Super Bowl, competing at the show of all shows of the year. So we ended up getting, it was the biggest show of the year. for the Olympia anyways. There was over 55 girls competing at that show. We got fourth call outs. So we were in the middle of the pack, which I was super happy with, especially after competing in 17 shows for the year. I knew my body needed rest. I knew my body was a little bit burnt, but my mindset was like, nope, we're going because we're going to the O. So that year was absolutely memorable. I will say that 17 shows is hard on people, but when you know what you want and what you're capable of doing, you can achieve it.
With
So
17, do you start to almost like does it start to feel different after 7 and 8 and 9 and 10? Does it start to almost feel like just a completely different thing than when, your first couple?
I will say no. I was just like, I will say my first couple of the shows, I was a little nervous because my body was just burning through food and we could not feed me enough to fill me out. So I was like, do I even do this show? Like, we need to be filled out. Like, I'm not popping enough. We did it. We didn't place, terrible. But, once we got, let's say the halfway mark of like seventh show, eighth show, it was like, is this the show we're gonna break a win at? Are we gonna get it at this show? We're gonna get it at the next show. We were going up against basically the same group of girls every single show. I was like, one of these shows we're gonna nail this peak. Well, it didn't fully happen, but at least we got in on points. Love the journey. Um, Being able to do that many shows and keep that healthy of a mindset and that healthy of a body was a blessing. But I knew after I stepped off that Olympia stage that I was not going to compete in 2020. What are we in? 24? I was not going to compete in 2023 because I just wanted a full year off. And it wasn't because my mental state couldn't take it anymore. I just knew that if I want to crack a top placing at the Olympia, like top 10 or even just top 15 to get a placing, my body needed a year off. We needed to grow. I have the shape, but we need a little bit more density. So I have taken all of last year off and I'm still in improvement season. I know I have capitalized on my physique. I'll be prepping sometime this upcoming season. I'm not sure when yet, but I know it's going to be a great year. Just with the density that I've added, um, the coach that I have now, Cash, he's great. He's been leading me in more ways than I can even express right now. With his training style, his nutrition approach, like we've made some big changes in the short period of time that I've been with him. So I'm excited to see what we'll bring to the stage.
What did you learn about, the prep process and like your body, how your body responds to different things? I mean, were those 17 shows really a good opportunity to fine tune like what that prep process is going to be moving forward? Or is it kind of different maybe when you do 17 versus when you do 2?
I will say it's different for everyone. For me personally, ever since I've started competing, once we get me lean enough, typically we can reverse into every show. So that is one of the reasons why I was able to do 17 shows is because I was eating more than I'm going to say the average person. 400 carbs going into every show. Some shows I was eating 700 carbs. Like my body burns through that food once we get it lean enough. Um, but I've only prepped with Jamie before, so she has been my only coach. That's the only approach that we have taken is get me lean enough. Usually we come in flat the first show or two, and then we start to carb up earlier in the week so that way I'm full enough by the end of the week. With Cash, I've never prepped with him. We'll see what his approach is on how my body's responding with what his protocols are, and then adjust from there. I will say for anybody else, more than likely, it would be hard on them to do 17 shows because they're probably doing double the cardio, eating less than half the food of what I was eating, so they couldn't sustain it.
For that post 17 show improvement season, I mean, how did you said your mind state was good and stuff like that, but like, was there any point to where you were just like, it just felt weird to not be like prepping for a show and figuring out like where are we gonna go in the hotel and all like all the things that are associated with it? Was it just like weird to be like, okay, I know, we're not doing that for a while, so I can kind of, schedule my life differently now?
Yes, it's honestly really weird. I was like, wait, I'm not traveling every weekend, going to compete, like looking at this plane ticket, making sure that correlates with like the check-in time and everything like that. So to not travel as much last year was a little bit weird because previously, even previous before the year before that, I was traveling quite a bit with shows I was competing in. So it was nice, I will say, to take that break from traveling and to travel to the shows that my clients were competing in and really make sure that their prep was smooth, that we were fine tuning everything and being there for them. Just like I am, even if I'm prepping, I will always prioritize my clients first over myself because they're putting in more work just as much as what I am, and I want the best for them. So to see others succeed beyond myself warms my heart.
And did you start to get the itch or the bug to be like, I want to step on stage, I want to do it? You start to see your clients do it and everybody doing it, and it's like, oh man, as much as I know this is helping, I still want to do it.
Yes, I will say towards the end of the season, we're around like September timeframe. There was probably like 4 shows left before the cutoff. I was like, damn, if I just jump into one, like, can I do a quick depletion, jump into one, see what happens, and go from there? But I'm like, Jodes, no. Like, don't ruin it for next season. Like, focus on what you're doing now, and your time is coming. So it did get to a point towards the end of the season where I was just like, what I would do to get on the Olympia stage this year. Like, I would love that. But I know that the future is even brighter and that my time will come again.
Yeah, I mean, did you, whether it be watching it or seeing the post from it, I mean, was it hard to just be like, oh man, I wonder, or could I have been there, or where would I have placed?
Yes, there were definitely thoughts of that, especially watching it live in person. I was just like, okay, like, oh, I remember competing against that girl. Like, this is where we sort of placed with each other. This is where she was at the Olympia the previous year. Like, just wondering what I would look like now against them definitely did cross my mind. So it makes me eager to see what I look like this upcoming season, especially with being about right now I'm like 23 to 25 pounds above what my stage weight was. Um, but still being able to see lines and shape and definition, I'm like, wow, this is fairly nuts. So like, will my stage weight be 8 to 10 pounds heavier? Will I be bringing the same stage weight? Like, obviously, we should be going in at a heavier stage weight with taking that time off, adding on quality tissue. But I'm just wondering, what will my weight be this year? And I don't even honestly care about the stage weight. Like, as long as the shape is there, the lines are there for what the judges want to see, we're bringing that full physique. That's what matters. The, the stage weight, yes, it's there as a tool, but not as the ultimate factor.
But yeah, I think that looking at it along the lines of like what the full picture is.
Yes, it really does. And also even like looking at your physique from maybe even where you were the previous year at, this point when you were on stage and being like, okay, yeah, I don't need to get to that weight because I look better now than what I did 5 pounds less because I've added that tissue on and took this time off to improve.
So, you mentioned your Olympia experience and just in general, I guess, competing against pros. And I'm sure that's really cool to have that, to be like, oh, these are the people at the top. And I can kind of like, I can compete against them, which is really cool to kind of stack yourself up, but also just to maybe build relationships with these people. Are there people or individuals that you just really enjoy competing against or look forward to compete against? Like, oh man, I can't wait until I beat this person. Not necessarily from like a mean perspective, but just like, oh, I really want to beat them. It's a good competition, a good rivalry. I want to, want to have that rivalry there.
I will say with the bikini division, I feel that all the girls backstage are very supportive of one another. We all make it fun, whether if we're competing at that show or not competing at that show, and just being there backstage to support. So there's no pro in particular that I'm like, oh, I want to go up against and I want to, beat her down or anything like that. It's all about just being like, all right, like, hey, these top 5 pros, maybe they have been at the top 5 Olympia before. Oh, I'm going against them this weekend at the show. Let's see how I stack up. Let's see what I can improve on versus what they're bringing. And not feeling like just because they have been or are a top 5 or top 10 Olympian doesn't mean that I can't beat them out. It's whatever we bring to that stage that day that the judges are basing it off of. I like a lot of things about bodybuilding, but one of the good things about bodybuilding is, yes, there is a team aspect, don't get me wrong, but it's also a very individualized sport. So you can have, let's say, the best coach in the world, the best training plan, the best, support behind you. But are you truly putting in the work each day to get you where you need to go? So when you're on that stage and maybe you didn't place as good as what you wished, can you ask yourself, did I do everything that the coach asked of me? And am I proud of what I brought? If you can fully say, yes, I did everything to a T and I am damn proud of what I brought, then you should be happy, proud, satisfied, and anxious to make those improvements to go to that next show. But if you get up there and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I am pissed because I didn't get the placing I wanted. And you ask yourself if you did everything, and then you start to really dig deep and reflect and being like, well, I cheated myself here, I cheated myself there, then it falls back on you. So that is one thing I do like about this sport, is that it is a team sport in a way, but it's also very individualized. And it ultimately comes down to how bad you want it and what you're willing to do to get to that point of your career.
It's one of those things where no one is going to wake you up and say, hey, you have to get up and train. Like, no one's going to tell you that you have to do this or don't get to do that, or like it's weird.
Right. Oh, hey, get those little snacks out of your snack drawer. Like, I see you snacking out.
Yeah.
No, so
It's weird because it's all like you're choosing to do the thing. If you succeed or if you fail, like that is because of the things that you have done. And
This podcast is sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, a veteran-owned coffee company that strives to give back to those in need. Don't forget to use code TWR10 for a 10% discount at checkout.
100% agree with that. And when you're okay with that, it's going to take you places that you didn't think that you could go. And I'm going to go off on a little bit on a veer, but like, I know for myself, like a lot of my clients, they have a hard time believing in themselves, or when they started with me, they had a hard time believing in themselves that they could take their physique and their mindset from point A to point B where we have it now. But it's because I believed in them. So when I believe in them or somebody else believes in you and they push you to that next level, you're more apt to give it 120% versus giving it 70% like you used to and not get the results that you definitely wanted. And it really just takes that support. And I will say that's one thing that bodybuilding has brought me, is the support system. I'm not saying, like, my family is my biggest support system, but from a friend standpoint, the friendships and relationships that I have built in the bodybuilding world, I would not have met them if I didn't pursue this degree.
talking about not competing in 2023, were there things that you started to do or experiment with because you had more time to do so?
Recently, for myself, we have tinkered a little bit with training. So a little bit different training style as well as nutrition approach. So made some adjustments there. And I will say from making those adjustments, my physique has definitely excelled. Um, and it wasn't even like huge adjustments, just tweaks here and there. But I will say from where I was, let's say in like September, November timeframe, when I started to make those changes to where I'm at now, definitely big improvements have taken place. Hasn't even been for like myself. Like I've done a lot of continuing education, so that way I can learn more and put that into place for my clients' plans and how their transformations and preps are going as well. So being able to learn more, take more time to take those learning classes, and then put that into place for training for my clients, nutrition for my clients. That has been a huge aspect of what I've been focusing on this past year.
Gotcha. And so for your own personal nutrition, was that more macro and like that kind of tinkering based, or was it more along the lines of specific foods, trying things out, or what was that?
Food wise, basically kept it the same. Didn't change really any food groups, but it was more of a different macro
Gotcha.
breakdown approach. So I will say my carbs are still plenty high, but I was having my fats a little bit lower. So we brought up my fats, still keeping my carbs and protein where it's at, but my body composition and how my body is digesting the food has changed.
And this may be kind of a dual question as an athlete and as a coach, but when making those adjustments, do you find that it's more beneficial or maybe easier to see the changes, or um because I think there's obviously a balance you want to strike between like a noticeable change but not disrupting too much. But is it like, okay, let's go up just a little bit here and see what happens, and then we'll maybe go up a little bit more, or is it like, let's go up semi substantially and then see what happens, and then if it's not the right thing, we'll back it back down and kind of work that way?
So it really depends with what their biofeedback is. So let's say they're having a really hard time maybe sleeping, or they feel like their blood pressure is dropping, or they're having a headache. Seeing where their sodium intake is at. Where are they utilizing their fats at? Do we need to add a little bit more fats in and increase their sodium to prevent that? How is their recovery? How are their pumps at the gym? Do we feel like we need to add a little bit more carbs in? Also seeing how is their body digesting glucose. They could have bad time, digesting a certain food group. So we know that, okay, we need to increase this macronutrient so that their body can properly utilize it to capitalize on what stage we are in their journey.
Right. And just being a coach, it seems like so much of it is, and not like in a reckless way, but almost experimentation of like, let's just try things and see what works. And I think as a person, maybe from the client perspective, I think we want to come to somebody that, oh, this person has all the answers, or this person is going to know right away.
And that's what I tell all my clients and people that I consult with. I'm like, guys, you got to give me a couple days to get your plan set up. Like my clients are not having the same macro breakdown or meal plan. They're not having the same workouts because everybody's body is different. Do we need to work on the long chain muscle fibers, or do we need to work on the short chain muscle fibers? What areas do we need to grow in? Do we only need two lower body days, or yeah, two lower body days and maybe four upper body days because your lower body is overpowering, but you want to do bikini? So there's so much that takes into consideration when you are building that customized plan for that client. And if you're just getting, I'm sorry, a cookie cutter plan, you might want to reevaluate the coach that you're with, just because you should not be having that same plan that your friend Sally's having that's on the same team. Because like you said, sleep schedule, work schedule, body composition. Where are you guys at right now, and what are your goals that you're working towards? Maybe Sally's getting on stage this year where you need to do a body fat, you need to drop some body fats, and then we need to go into a building phase. So there's a lot to analyze when building a plan for our clients. So just know that you shouldn't be having the same plan as anybody else. People that are more adaptive to trying something new, and maybe they're like, I'm super bloated and this is what I'm having. All right, let's cut this food group out. Like, leave it out for a good solid 2 weeks. If you cut it out and you notice noticeable changes, then we know we're not adding that food group back in. Like, it is what it is. But do you want to be, let's say, mediocre, or do you want to be elite? That ultimately comes down to what you want, and are you willing to make those changes, not just for the short term, but the long term?
Yeah. And even looking past bodybuilding, like, do you want to live mediocrely and have like a mediocre feeling? Like just your health is mediocre and you don't feel great. You don't feel terrible, but you don't feel great. Or do you want to like wake up and not feel bad and like go to work and have energy? And when you work out, it's like you don't need pre-workout, and you don't need 3 cups of
Yeah.
coffee, and like you can just
You're
rely
living
on
off of your
yourself.
yes, you're living off of your own energy and endorphins.
Mm.
Speaking of pre-workout, people ask me, what kind of pre-workout do you take? I don't take pre-workout. Like, I don't, I've tried it before just to be like, all right, like, do I really get this energetic high? I don't feel anything from it. So I'm like, I'm not going to waste $50 for a container on pre-workout. I myself, I just am a very high energy and like go, go, go person all the time. So I basically create my own pre-workout and I'm living off of my own hype. That might sound silly to some people, but I will say, like, I don't need the pre-workout. Like, just build up your own hype and let it go from there.
We've turned supplements into the main ways of doing things. And once again, whether that's like a pre-workout before you go work out, or like coffee, or just really vitamins in general, I think sometimes too get overused because of the lack of
Yes.
wanting to change your diet. And like we want to, of course, there's great times to sometimes use a supplement, right? But like they should be supplementing you and helping you figure out along the way, like, okay, maybe I need this cup of coffee to take today because I slept bad last night. But if you're not trying to figure out why you slept bad and how to figure out like how to sleep better, and like you're googling, how to sleep better,
How to create more
how to,
energy. Like,
yeah, like if
what's
you're
going to
not,
give me the best caffeine buzz?
you're just covering up the symptoms instead of solving the problem, which I think is just a whole other massive conversation. But
Oh, yes. One thing that I will say people tend to do is they want that quick fix versus analyzing the issue and saying, okay, is it a habit that I need to change that's going to help me make me feel better? Or maybe it's a long term health issue that has been underlooked and you need to get that addressed. You know, cholesterol. What are your daily habits right now with how you eat, how you exercise? Can that bring down your levels versus just taking some cholesterol supplement that the doctor prescribed you or that you got over the counter or whatever? A lot of it can take place with just changing your lifestyle habits.
I just wish we lived in the world where you could trust that you're getting good advice on a mass scale from someone.
Yes, instead of that instant gratification.
Mhm.
And that's, I'm going to say it, what us Americans want. They want that instant now. They don't want to, have it be a sustainable progression. For example, I'm just going to throw it out there, like the keto diet. Oh, I did the keto diet, lost 30 pounds in a month. Bravo, great job. Like, yes, I applaud you for that. But did you learn any healthy, sustainable habits while you were doing that?
Right.
Chances are no. And when you do start to introduce carbs back in, 30 pounds is right back on, just like it came off. So that's how we all need to start looking at our health and fitness journey. Is this sustainable for my lifestyle? Or what can I adjust to make it sustainable for my lifestyle? And where I can still go out to different events and family functions and friends functions and enjoy myself without feeling like I need to restrict. And it's all about like those habits. So like I say, habit stacking. You know, you change one habit for a better habit. And then how can we build off of this habit to stack upon it to get to the next habit that we want to change of your lifestyle? And then it just keeps building up from there.
Once again, instant gratification, it's hard to do that because we get trapped in those cycles of you want to feel good, you want to feel good.
Yes, yes. And it's easier just to scroll or hit next and jam out to your song or laugh at the last thing on TikTok or whatever it might be versus listening to something that's going to benefit you.
Definitely. Yeah. I really do appreciate you coming on. It was great to get to chat with you and kind of learn a little bit about your story and where you've come from. And I definitely, you know, myself picked up some stuff that I'm going to take on with me from this episode. So I really do appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was definitely a pleasure. And I look forward to being on future ones. So my Instagram is JodieJFit_IFBB Pro. I am a coach for Team Alpha Aesthetics. So give us a follow there as well at Team Alpha Aesthetics on Instagram. And if you are looking for a coach, myself, Janine Herrera, and Ashlyn Little are accepting transformation, prep, and lifestyle clients.
If you're tired of searching for a coach or trainer, somebody who knows what they're talking about and has experience, make sure you go check out the new Coach's Corner on weightroompodcast.com. You can find quality, qualified coaches to help you achieve your goals, whether that's in bodybuilding or just general fitness. Stop wasting time and start achieving your goals today. The link to the Coach's Corner is down in the description below.